stop before you spend another nickel. Watch this video, because what I'm about to show you could change the way you look at your pocket change forever. We're talking about 4 Jefferson Nickels dated 1972, 1974, 1975, and 1976 that coin collectors and serious investors are hunting down right now, and some of them are selling at auction for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. That's right, a 5-cent coin turning into a $500 coin. And it could be sitting in your coin jar, your dresser drawer, or buried in that forgotten change rolling around the bottom of your car. Now here's the thing most people don't know. The 1974 Philadelphia nickel was struck in enormous numbers, over 601 million of them, making it one of the highest mintage years in Jefferson nickel history. So you'd think, that can't be rare, right? But you are wrong. In MS66 condition with the coveted full steps designation, meaning you can see every crisp architectural step on Monticello, it is extremely difficult to find, and most known examples have already been snapped up by collectors. There are no known examples graded MS67 or higher. That makes a gem quality 1974 full steps nickel one of the rarest condition coins of the entire modern era. Dealers are paying serious premiums for these. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers are the battleground where these treasures trade hands. Then there's the 1975, the 1975D, high D. Mintmark nickel is a coin that should not exist. The mintmark punch was placed in the wrong position. Instead of appearing below the date like normal, it ended up to the left of the 5 in a date. This misplaced mintmark makes it extraordinarily rare, and it commands anywhere from $500 to $2,500 or more, even in worn, circulated condition. And get this, A1975 Jefferson nickel with an embedded copper error on the reverse. Recently sold online for over $3,000. That is 600 times face value for a nickel you might have tossed in a tip jar. Now the 1972, this one is a collector obsession. The 1972 D Jefferson nickel is practically non-existent in MS67 grade, with only 4 known examples in existence in the entire world. A grade examples certified by PCGS or NGC can reach several $100s. In error varieties like the double die obverse, where you'll see ghostly doubling on Liberty, or the date can push values to $500 to $2,000 or more. In the 1976, don't sleep on the 1976 S-proof nickel, because the difference between a common 1976 nickel worth 5 cents and a gem-proof specimen worth hundreds comes down to one thing: knowing what to look for. And that's exactly what this channel is here for. So stay with me, because in this video, I'm breaking down every single detail on all 4 of these killer dates and exactly what you need to examine before you ever spend another nickel again. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and let's go find some treasure starting right now. Welcome back, coin hunters and treasure seekers. Today we are about to crack open one of the most jaw-dropping secrets hiding right inside your everyday pocket change. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the 1974 Jefferson nickel is not just a 5-cent coin, it is a potential gold mine that millions of Americans have unknowingly tossed into tip jars, vending machines, and couch cushions for decades. The Jefferson nickel series itself was born in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel, and it was designed by the legendary Felix Schlag, whose iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, America's 3rd president and the mastermind behind Monticello, has graced this 5-cent piece for nearly 90 stunning years, making it one of the longest-running coin series in United States mint history. And the 1974 issue is absolutely one of the most electrifying dates in that entire collection. Now here is where it gets mind-blowing. The 1974 Jefferson nickel was struck at 3 different mint facilities. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins with no trade mint mark. The Denver Mint stamped a bold D on the reverse, and the San Francisco Mint cranked out breathtaking PROOF coins with a gleaming S mint mark exclusively for collectors. And each of these 3 varieties carries a completely different story, a completely different value, and a completely different level of rarity that could leave you absolutely speechless. The Philadelphia business strike saw a massive mintage of over 600 million coins. Yet, and this is the shocking part that most people never realize, finding a truly pristine, uncirculated example graded MS66 or higher by top grading services like PCGS or NGC is astonishingly difficult, because most of these coins were immediately thrown into circulation and subjected to the brutal abuse of everyday commerce. Meaning a flawlessly struck, full steps 1974 Jefferson nickel with sharp, unbroken steps on Monticello's famous staircase, what collectors call the legendary full steps designation, can command prices that will make your eyes pop, sometimes fetching hundreds or even over $1,000 at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, which is absolutely insane for a coin that was once worth just 5 cents. Speaking of the Denver Mint, the 1974D is equally fascinating, with a mintage also in the hundreds of millions. You would think these are worthless, But a top population, MS66, full steps, 1974D, has sold at auction for staggering amounts that shock even veteran new because the full step standard requires the coin to show 5 or 6 perfectly defined, razor-sharp horizontal lines on Monticello steps, which is extraordinarily rare due to weak strikes, die wear, and bag marks from the minting process, and when you find one, you have struck pure gold. But wait, the most explosive piece of this entire 1974 nickel story is the San Francisco proof. These stunning mirrored beauties were specially made using polished planchettes and specially prepared dies that were hinged between strikes to produce those mesmerizing cameo and deep cameo surfaces where the design elements blaze like frosted white fire against a mirror black field, and a deep cameo proof 701974S is considered by collectors to be as close to perfection as a modern coin can physically achieve, making it one of the most sought-after pieces in any proof set collection, with prices at elite auctions reflecting that incredible desirability. Now let's talk about the hidden errors that transform ordinary 1974 Jefferson Nickels into absolute treasure: die cracks, die cuds, doubled dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchette errors, and repunched mint marks are the secret weapons of the savvy collector. And these terrifying little anomalies occur during the hyper minting process, when something goes magnificently wrong at the mint, creating one-of-a-kind coins that are completely unique in the entire world. Imagine holding a 1974 nickel with a dramatic off-center strike showing 50% of the design misaligned, or a dramatic doubled die obverse, where Jefferson's eye or the date appears to have a ghostly shadow. Double image, these error coins don't just sell for tens of dollars. They can explode in value to hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on the severity and the drama of the error, sending bidders into absolute frenzy at live numismatic auctions. And here is the truly haunting reality that every single person watching this video needs to understand right now. Today, there are 1974 Jefferson Nickels hiding in old coin jars in attics, in estate sale collections, in bank-wrapped rolls at your local credit union, and yes, even in circulation, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to recognize their extraordinary worth. The key is knowing exactly what to look for. Check the steps on Monticello for that magical full steps designation. Examine the coin's surfaces under a loupe for any sign of doubling or die errors. Inspect the mint mark position, and always evaluate the overall luster and strike quality, because the difference between a common circulated coin worth 5 cents and a rare gem worth a fortune is often just a matter of millimeters. And the depth of a die strike, the broader Jefferson Nickels series has produced some of the most legendary key dates in all of American numismatics. Coins like the 1939D, the 1942D over horizontal D, the 1950D, which famously had the lowest mintage of any Jefferson nickel and drove collectors into an absolute purchasing panic. And of course, the spectacular 1942 to 1945 wartime silver nickels made from 35% silver to conserve nickel metal for World War II. Artillery shells. All of these thrilling coins exist within the same series as your 1974 nickel, painting a rich and deeply emotional tapestry of American history, wartime sacrifice, industrial glory, and the relentless human passion for collecting things of beauty and rarity. So the next time you reach into your pocket, crack open a piggy bank, or dig through grandma's old coffee can of coins, stop, take a deep breath, and look at every single Jefferson nickel like it might be the coin that changes your life. Because in the incredible, unpredictable, absolutely addictive world of coin collecting, the 1974 Jefferson nickel proves beyond any shadow of a doubt that extraordinary treasure can hide in the most ordinary places. And the only thing standing between you and a jaw-dropping discovery is the knowledge you carry and the determination to look just a little bit closer. And if you found this video even slightly smash that like button, subscribe for more hidden coin treasures, and drop a comment below telling us the most valuable coin you have ever found in circulation. We read every single one. And until next time, keep hunting, keep learning, and never ever spend a coin without checking it first. Asterisk. We are talking about the single most critical skill every coin collector must master, because finding a rare 1974 Jefferson nickel is only half the battle. The other half is knowing exactly where, WHEN, and how to sell it so you walk away with the maximum amount of cash in your pocket instead of leaving hundreds or even thousands of dollars on the table. And trust me, most people make catastrophic mistakes that cost them a fortune when selling their coins. So let's break this down by all three mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, because each one demands a completely different selling strategy. First, and this is the golden rule that separates amateur sellers from savvy profit maximizers: never, and I mean absolutely never, sell any coin before getting it professionally graded and certified by either PC, the Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Company. Because an ungraded 1974 Jefferson Nickels sitting raw in your hand might sell for $10 on a good day. But that same coin slabbed in a PCGS or NGC holder graded MS65 full steps can explode to $200, $500, or more. The plastic holder is not just protection. It is a certified stamp of authenticity that makes serious collectors and investors open their wallets wide. And the grading fee of $20 to $40 is the single best investment you will ever make on a valuable coin. Now, for your Philadelphia No Mint Mark 1974 nickel. If it is a high-grade, uncirculated example with full steps, your absolute best-selling arena is a major live numismatic auction through Heritage Auctions at hho.com or Stack's Bowers Galleries, because these platforms attract the wealthiest, most passionate collectors on the planet who will compete aggressively against each other, driving your final hammer price to breathtaking heights that no private sale or coin dealer could ever match. Competition is your best friend, and auction fever is pure profit for you as the seller. For your Denver Mint 1974D nickel, eBay remains a shockingly powerful selling tool when used correctly, listed with high resolution photographs under bright natural light showing both the obverse and reverse. Use the exact search terms 1974D, Jefferson Nickel, MS65, Full Steps PCGS in your title. Set it as a 7-day auction starting on a Sunday evening when coin buyer traffic is at its absolute peak, and watch motivated collectors from around the world bid each other into a bidding war that sends your final price. Soaring sellers who follow this exact formula consistently achieve 30 to 50% more money than those who use buy it now pricing, so be patient, trust the auction process, and let human psychology do the heavy lifting for you. Now for the crown jewel, your San Francisco 1974 proof nickel, if it grades PR269 Deep Cameo or the perfect PR70 Deep Cameo. You are sitting on a collector's dream, and you need to treat it accordingly by either consigning it to a major auction house or listing it in specialized numismatic marketplaces like Collector's Universe. The 1975 Jefferson nickel may look like an ordinary 5-cent coin hiding in pocket change, old jars, drawers, and forgotten collections. But what if I told you that some of these coins can ignite intense collector excitement, trigger bidding wars, and even sell for shocking prices when rare qualities are discovered? Today, we dive deep into the history, value, rarity, auctions, collector's secrets, mint, marks, errors, varieties, and the hidden treasure potential of the mysterious 1975 Jefferson nickel, one of the most underestimated coins in American numismatics. At first glance, the 1975 Jefferson nickel appears simple, featuring the left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the famous Monticello building on the reverse. But behind that familiar design lies a world of dramatic scarcity and top condition, surprising mint mistakes, and collector demand that continues to grow year after year. To understand why this coin matters, we must travel back to the mid-1970s, a turbulent and fascinating time in the United States. Inflation was rising, economic uncertainty was spreading, and millions of Americans handled coins every day without realizing that some would become collectible treasures decades later. The Jefferson Nickel series itself began in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel, and was designed by Felix Schlag, whose elegant portrait of Jefferson and detailed Monticello reverse became one of the longest-running designs in U.S. history. By 1975, the design had already circulated for decades. But every year of issue tells a different story. In 1975 has its own secrets. The 1975 Jefferson nickel was struck for circulation primarily at two mints, Philadelphia and Denver. Coins from Philadelphia carried no mint mark at that time, while Denver issues displayed a small D mint mark on the obverse to the right of Jefferson's portrait. San Francisco also produced proof coins for collectors, marked with an S, and these mirror-like specimens would later become highly desirable in pristine condition. Massive numbers of 1975 nickels were minted, with hundreds of millions produced, meaning common worn examples remain easy to find. But here is where the shocking twist begins. While ordinary circulated examples may only be worth face value, certain rare conditions, errors, and premium-grade survivors can command surprisingly strong prices. Collectors know that mintage numbers alone do not determine value. Survival in top condition, rarity of flawless surfaces, strike sharpness, luster quality, and error varieties often matter far more than raw production totals. This is why a coin minted in the hundreds of millions can still become valuable if very few exist in gem condition. Let us start with circulated 1975 nickels. These are coins that spent years in commerce, showing wear, dull surfaces, scratches, and softened details. Most circulated Philadelphia or Denver examples are worth 5 cents, to perhaps a small premium if nicely preserved in old rolls. But if a collector uncovers an uncirculated roll with blazing mint luster, values rise quickly. A brilliant, uncirculated 1975 nickel-graded MS63 or MS64 may bring modest collector interest, while MS65 and above can attract serious buyers. Why? Because high-grade nickels are notoriously difficult to preserve. The hard copper nickel alloy resists wear, but also tends to pick up marks during mint handling. Bag marks, contact scratches, dull strikes, and poor luster often prevent coins from reaching elite grades. As a result, truly exceptional 1975 nickels are much scarcer than many people imagine. In top registry grades such as MS66, MS67, and beyond, values can jump dramatically. Auction records have shown superb certified examples selling for hundreds and in some cases, thousands of dollars depending on eye appeal and population rarity. Imagine pulling a coin worth 5 cents from an old bankroll only to discover it could fund a vacation or more. That possibility is what keeps treasure hunters searching. Now let us discuss the 1975D Jefferson nickel. Denver struck a huge number of nickels that year, and many entered circulation immediately. However, Denver coins are often studied for strike quality. Some examples show weak steps on Monticello mushy details, or uneven luster. Strongly struck coins with full details can be much more desirable. This brings us to one of the most thrilling grading designations in the Jefferson nickel world: full steps. On the reverse of the coin, the steps leading to Monticello are visible beneath the building. On many nickels, these steps are weak or interrupted. But when a coin shows sharply defined, uninterrupted steps, grading services may assign a full steps designation, dramatically increasing desirability. Full steps, examples of the 1975 and 1975D. Nickels can command astonishing premiums in high mint state grades because they combine excellent pret strike quality with preservation rarity. Collectors building top-ranked sets compete fiercely for these coins. Sometimes the difference between an ordinary nickel and a jackpot nickel is hidden in those tiny steps. Now we move into the most exciting territory of all: errors and varieties. Mint errors occur when something goes wrong during production, and collectors love them because each one tells a unique story from inside the minting process. A 1975 Jefferson nickel with an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing and the blank area remains visible, can be highly collectible, especially if the date is still readable. The more dramatic the off-center percentage, the stronger the demand, provided the date remains visible. Another sought-after error is a broad strike where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to spread wider than normal and lose its edge shape. Double strikes are even more dramatic, showing two overlapping impressions that create a ghostly, chaotic design. These can bring impressive premiums depending on visibility and severity. Clipped planchets are another fan favorite. When the blank metal strip is punched incorrectly, part of the coin is missing in a curved or straight clip. A genuine clipped 1975 nickel can be worth many times face value. Die cracks, cut errors, lamination flaws, and struck-through errors also fascinate collectors. A die crack appears as a raised line caused by a fractured die. A cut forms when part of the die breaks away, leaving a raised blob on the coin. Lamination errors occur when metal impurities cause peeling or splitting surfaces. Struck-through errors happen when grease, debris, or foreign matter gets between die and planchette, leaving missing or distorted details. Every error coin is a mini mystery, and rarity plus eye appeal determines value. Then there are double die varieties, where parts of the design appear doubled due to misalignment in die creation. Strong doubling on the date, lettering, or Monticello details can send collectors into a frenzy. While not every claim of doubling is real, many are machine doubling or damaged genuine. Doubled dies are prized discoveries. A sharp-eyed searcher using magnification might one day uncover an overlooked variety worth significant money. Proof coins from San Francisco add another chapter of excitement. The 1975's proof Jefferson nickel was specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchettes, creating mirror fields and frosted devices when preserved properly. Many proof coins survive, but the finest deep cameo examples with perfect grades such as PR69 or PR70 can be worth substantial premiums. Proof errors are especially dramatic because they are unusual on specially made collector coins. If a 1975's proof nickel shows doubling, mistrike, or other anomalies, collectors pay close attention. Now let us talk about auctions, where hidden values become public reality. Auction houses and online marketplaces have sold premium 1975 Jefferson nickels for prices that shock casual observers. Why would someone pay hundreds or thousands for a nickel? Because elite certified coins are not merely metal, they are condition rarities. If population reports show only a handful graded at the highest level, collectors competing for registry set rankings may bid aggressively. This competition can turn humble coins into headline-making lots. One especially beautiful full steps specimen with vibrant luster and near-perfect surfaces can outperform dozens of lower-grade examples combined. Auction psychology also matters. Two determined bidders can drive prices far beyond estimates when a rare top-pop coin appears. This is why checking sold auction records is essential before selling any potentially valuable nickel. You might own more than you think. How can you identify a valuable 1975 Jefferson nickel? First, check the date carefully and confirm it is 1975. Then look for a mint mark. No mint mark means Philadelphia, a D means Denver, an S means proof issue from San Francisco. Next, inspect condition. Is the coin bright and unworn? Are details sharp? Are surfaces clean and attractive? Then examine Monticello steps with magnification. Full clear steps can add major value. Search for errors such as off-center strikes, clips, doubling, cracks, or unusual shapes. Weigh the coin, if possible. Wrong planchette errors occasionally occur when coins are struck on blanks meant for other denominations, though these are rare and dramatic discoveries. Store suspect coins safely in flips or holders and avoid cleaning them. Cleaning can destroy value instantly by creating hairlines and unnatural surfaces. Many beginners make the heartbreaking mistake of polishing coins, turning potential treasures into damaged pieces. Never clean a coin you think may be valuable. Collectors of Jefferson Nickels form a passionate community. Some pursue complete détaillement sets. Others chase full steps examples, while error specialists hunt one-of-a-kind mint mistakes. The 1976 Jefferson nickel is one of those everyday pocket change coins that many people ignored for decades. Yet hidden among millions of common examples are surprising treasures that can ignite bidding wars, shock collectors, and turn a 5-cent coin into a prize worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And today, we are diving deep into the history, value, rarity, auctions, collector demand, mint marks, errors, varieties, and the shocking secrets of the 1976 Jefferson nickel that could be sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, piggy banks, old wallets, estate boxers, and forgotten coin albums right now, because while most people see just a nickel, collectors see a story, a hunt, and sometimes a jackpot. The year 1976 was one of the most patriotic years in modern American history because the United States was celebrating its bicentennial, marking 200 years since the Declaration of Independence in 1776. And while quarters, half dollars, and dollars received dramatic bicentennial reverse designs, the Jefferson nickel kept its classic portrait and Monticello design, making it a silent witness to that historic year. Designed originally by Felix Schlag in 1938, the Jefferson nickel replaced the Buffalo nickel and continued the legacy of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse with Monticello on the reverse. And by 1976, the coin had already become one of the most recognizable denominations in American life. Yet many viewers do not realize that 1976 nickels were struck in enormous numbers, but he-grade survivors with blazing luster, sharp strikes, and full details are far scarcer than raw mintage numbers suggest, and that is where real value begins. In 1976, the Philadelphia Mint struck coins without a mint mark. The Denver Mint struck coins with a D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint produced proof nickels with the S mint mark, each version with its own market, rarity profile, and collector interest. The Philadelphia 1976 nickel had a massive mintage of hundreds of millions, meaning circulated examples are extremely common and usually worth face value or slightly more in bulk. But when found in mint state grades like MS65, MS66, or higher, values begin climbing sharply, especially for coins with beautiful original surfaces. The Denver 1976D nickel also had a huge output and is common in worn grades. Yet collectors know that sharply struck examples with strong Monticello steps can command premiums because strike quality varies widely. Then there is the 1976S proof nickel, struck specifically for collectors using polished dies in specially prepared planchette, producing mirror-like fields and frosted devices that can look stunning even decades later. And cameo or deep cameo examples are especially prized. Now, here comes the thrilling part, condition rarity. A coin can be common overall, but rare in top condition. And the 1976 Jefferson nickel is a classic example. Millions were made, yes, but how many survived untouched with no scratches, no dulling, no bag marks, no spots, no haze, and razor-sharp details? Very few. That is why certified coins graded by professional services like PCGS or NGC, in grades such as MS67 or MS67+, can bring dramatic prices compared with ordinary examples worth 5 cents. Some auction records have stunned casual observers when elite-grade nickels sold for amounts that seem unbelievable for a modern 5-cent piece. Collectors are willing to pay for registry-quality coins because top populations can be fiercely competitive. Registry sets, where collectors compete online for the finest certified examples of each date and mint mark, have transformed many once-overlooked coins into hot auction material. Imagine a coin you could once get in change suddenly selling for hundreds or thousands, simply because it is among the finest known. That is the power of condition rarity. But condition is only one part of the treasure hunt. Errors and varieties create another layer of excitement. And the 1976 Jefferson nickel has produced some fascinating mint mistakes. Off-center strikes are always popular, especially when the date remains visible. A 5%, 10%, or 20% off-center nickel with a clear 1976 date can bring strong collector interest depending on eye appeal. Double strikes, where the coin is struck more than once, can create wild distorted designs and command impressive premiums. Broad strikes happen when the collar fails and the coin spreads outward larger than normal. Clipped planchettes, where a curved piece of metal is missing due to a blanking error, are highly collectible and visually dramatic. Die cracks, coup d'airs, and die chips can also create unusual raised lines or blobs that specialists love to hunt. Then there are double dies and repunched mint mark discussions. Though by 1976, minting practices had changed and classic repunched mint marks were no longer as common as earlier eras, yet die doubling on lettering or details can still create collectible varieties. Many people confuse machine doubling with true doubled die doubling, so careful examination is crucial. A genuine doubled die can show separated design elements and stronger market demand, while machine doubling is usually flatter and less valuable. Another major factor in Jefferson nickel collecting is the famous full steps designation. On the reverse, Monticello has steps at the base. If these steps are fully visible and uninterrupted, grading services may award a full steps designation, often abbreviated FS. This can multiply value dramatically because many nickels were weakly struck or damaged in bags, obscuring the steps. A common 1976 nickel in MS65 without full steps may be modestly priced, but a sharply struck high-grade full steps example can leap to a completely different value category. That tiny architectural detail has created massive excitement in the market. So if you own a brilliant 1976 nickel, turn it over and inspect the steps carefully under magnification. It could mean the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Let us talk about everyday values. A circulated 1976 Philadelphia or Denver nickel is usually worth face value, though some sellers market rolls or bags for small premiums. Uncirculated examples taken from rolls may sell for modest amounts depending on grade and luster. Choice gem coins and certified holders can rise into tens or hundreds. Superb gems with full steps or top-pop grades can go far beyond that. Proof 1976S nickels are usually affordable in standard proof sets, but perfect PR70 deep cameo examples, certified by grading companies, may command significantly higher prices because perfection is rare. Auction houses have long shown that collectors will chase the best of the best. When a finest known or tied for finest 1976 nickel appears, bidding can intensify quickly. Why? Because serious collectors may wait years for another chance. Scarcity at the top drives prices, not just total mintage. This is one of the most misunderstood truths in coin collecting. Another shocking factor is how storage can destroy value. Many people keep coins loose in jars or drawers where they rub together, causing nicks and dulling surfaces. Others clean coins with cloth, polish, toothpaste, baking soda, or chemicals, thinking they improve appearance, but cleaning often damages originality and lowers collector value. Never clean a potentially valuable coin. Natural toning can be attractive, while harsh cleaning leaves hairlines and unnatural shine that experts spot instantly. If you find a bright 1976 nickel, store it safely in a holder or flip and handle it by the edges only. Collectors also love original bank-wrapped rolls. Unsearched or original rolls of 1976 nickels sometimes attract buyers hoping to find gems, full steps, coins, or errors. Roll hunting remains one of the most exciting low-cost ways to search for hidden value. Many hobbyists buy boxers of nickels from banks and scan thousands of coins for key dates, silver-war nickels, and modern condition rarities. The 1976 date appears often, but superb examples are much harder than people think. Let us explore the historical context more deeply. America, in 1976, was celebrating 2 centuries of independence. Patriotic merchandise flooded the nation. Bicentennial quarters with the drummer boy reverse circulated everywhere. Yet the Jefferson nickel remained steady and unchanged, quietly connecting daily commerce to tradition. This contrast makes the 1976 nickel historically interesting. It represents the everyday coin that stood firm while other denominations transformed for celebration. For some collectors, assembling a complete 1976 U.S. coin set, including cent, nickel, dime, bicentennial quarter, half dollar, and dollar creates a meaningful snapshot of that era. Now, let us reveal what separates average coins from premium coins. First, luster. Original mint luster appears as a cartwheel effect rotating under light. Second, strike. Jefferson's hair details and Monticello steps should be sharp. Third, surfaces. Fewer marks mean higher grade. Fourth, eye appeal. Beautiful toning or brilliant freshness can attract stronger bids. Fifth, certification. Coins authenticated and graded by respected services often sell easier and for more money than raw coins because buyers trust the assigned grade. Sixth, rarity within grade. Population reports show how many examples exist at each level. If only a handful are graded MS67 full steps, prices can soar. Many new collectors ask if all 1976 nickels are valuable. The honest answer is no. Most are common, but some are valuable because of grade. error status, proof quality, or special designations. This realistic truth protects people from exaggerated online claims while still preserving the thrill of genuine discoveries. There have been stories of people finding exceptional modern coins in inherited collections, old rolls, and even change. What if I told you that a tiny 5-cent coin, a coin that millions of Americans threw into jars, dropped in parking lots, or completely ignored, could secretly be worth hundreds, or even thousands of dollars? That's right, folks. We're diving deep today into one of the most fascinating, most overlooked, and most shockingly valuable coins in all of American numismatic history, the 1972 Jefferson nickel, and trust me, by the end of this video, you are going to sprint to your coin jar, your couch cushions, your grandma's old purse. Because what you're about to discover is absolutely The Jefferson Nickels series itself has a legendary history that stretches all the way back to 1938, when the United States Mint replaced the beloved Buffalo nickel with a brand new design, honoring President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse, that's the front, and his iconic Virginia estate, Monticello, on the reverse. And this design was so beloved, so historically powerful, that it remained virtually unchanged for over 6 decades, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history, and that rich, unbroken legacy is exactly what makes every single date and mint mark in this series a potential treasure waiting to be discovered. Now, 1972 was a very specific and electrifying year in the Jefferson Nickels series because coins were being struck at not just one, but different United States mint facilities, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, and each of those mint locations produced coins with unique characteristics, unique strike quality, and in some jaw-dropping cases, catastrophic and incredibly rare errors. That transformed ordinary 5-cent pieces into coins that serious collectors will pay absolutely insane amounts of money to own. The Philadelphia Mint, which strikes coins with no mint mark, pumped out hundreds of millions of 1972 Jefferson Nickels for general circulation. So on the surface, you might think, well, there were so many made, how could any of them be rare? And that, my friends, is exactly the trap that most people fall into. Because rarity in coin collecting is not just about how many were made, it's about survival rate, it's about condition, it's about errors, it's about varieties, and it's about the specific striking details that separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary one. And the 1972 Philadelphia Nickels, when found in stunning, pristine, uncirculated condition, what collectors call mint state or MS grades, especially when graded MS65, full steps or higher, by top-tier grading services like PCGS or NGC, suddenly become genuinely scarce coins that command serious premiums at auction because the full steps designation means that all 5 or 6 steps leading up to Monticello's entrance are fully and completely struck with razor-sharp, breathtaking detail. And the heartbreaking truth is that the overwhelming majority of 1972 nickels were struck with weak, mushy, disappointing detail in that exact area due to worn dies and high-speed production pressures. Which means a perfectly struck full steps example is a genuinely rare find that collectors obsess over and compete fiercely to own. But here's where things get really exciting. The Denver Mint, which stamps its coins with a small letter D, produced in 1972 D, Jefferson Nickel. And while these two were made in enormous quantities for everyday commerce, the hunt for high-grade 1972 D full steps examples is even more intense, even more competitive, because population reports from PCGS and NGC show that the number of coins certified in the highest grades with full steps is shockingly, almost unbelievably small. We're talking about coins where only a handful of examples exist in the entire world in top condition. And when something that rare goes up for sale at a major auction house like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, the bidding can be absolutely ferocious, with final hammer prices that will make your jaw literally drop to the floor. And then, we get to perhaps the most thrilling part of this entire story, the errors and varieties. Because 1972 was a year that produced some truly spectacular, heart-stopping mint mistakes that turned ordinary nickels into numismatic superstars overnight. And chief among these are the double die varieties, where a misalignment during the hubbing process caused the design elements to be stamped onto the die more than once at slightly different angles, creating coins with visibly doubled, ghostly, almost eerie-looking inscriptions, dates, and design features that are impossible to fake and impossible to ignore once you know what you're looking for. And if you find a 1972 Jefferson nickel with strong, dramatic doubling on the date, on the word Liberty, or on any of the lettering, you could be holding a coin worth anywhere from $50 all the way up to several $100s, depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin. And that is absolutely breathtaking when you consider that you might have paid exactly 5 cents for it. There are also repunched mint mark varieties on 1972D nickels, where the D mint mark was punched into the working die more than once at slightly different positions, leaving behind a coin with a mint mark that looks doubled, tilted, or strangely distorted to the naked eye. These are exactly the kinds of tiny, hidden secrets that separate casual pocket change sorters from true, dedicated coin hunters who know that every coin deserves a second look. And those repunched mint marks can add meaningful premiums to a coin's value that most people at flea markets and estate sales have absolutely no idea about. Now let's talk about the San Francisco Mint's contribution to the 1972 Jefferson Nickels story, because the mint mark coins from San Francisco are in a completely different category altogether. These were not made for circulation. They were struck exclusively as proof coins for collectors, with specially polished dies, specially prepared planchettes, and a painstakingly slow, careful striking process that produces coins of absolutely stunning, mirror-like, almost supernatural beauty. And the 1972 proof Jefferson Nickel is a coin that belongs in every serious collection, with deep, glassy fields and frosted, cameo devices that create a dramatic contrast. Collectors call cameo or even the ultra-premium deep cameo or ultra cameo designation. And when a 1972 proof nickel comes back from PCGS or NGC graded PR69 deep cameo or the perfect PR70, the value skyrockets in a way that genuinely shocks first-time sellers who thought they were just dealing with a common proof set coin. The broader context of coin collecting and the Jefferson Nickels series also matters enormously here, because the numismatic hobby has been experiencing a genuine, documented renaissance in recent years, with younger collectors flooding into the market, online auction platforms making it easier than ever to buy and sell rare coins, and record-breaking auction results regularly making headlines and reminding the entire world that rare coins are not just collectibles. They are legitimate, tangible, historically significant assets that have consistently held and grown their value over time in ways that paper investments simply cannot match. And the 1972 Jefferson Nickel, sitting at that sweet spot of being old enough to be historically interesting, common enough that nearly every collector can participate in the hunt, but rare enough in top grades and error varieties to reward the patient, the knowledgeable, and the eagle-eyed searcher. That combination makes it one of the most exciting targets in all of modern coin collecting. So here is your action plan, your treasure hunting homework after watching this video. First, gather every single 1972 Jefferson Nickel you can find. Check your change. Check your old coin collections. Check estate sales. Check flea markets. Check those dusty rolls at antique shops and examine each one carefully under good lighting with a magnifying glass or loupe, looking specifically at the date for any signs of doubling, looking at the mint mark area for and flipping the coin over to examine those Monticello steps with the critical, demanding eye of a seasoned collector, because the difference between a coin worth 5 cents and a coin worth $500 can sometimes be a detail so small it's almost invisible to the untrained eye. But once you know what you're looking for, once you have this knowledge locked in your brain, you will never look at a 1972 nickel the same way again. And that, my friends, is the absolute magic, the pure electric thrill, and the endlessly rewarding obsession of coin collecting, a hobby that turns ordinary pocket change into an extraordinary adventure and reminds us that hidden treasure isn't always buried in the ground. Sometimes it's sitting right there in the palm of your hand, just waiting for someone smart enough to recognize it.